Dear friends, you may have heard the term alpha male used to describe certain kinds of men. It is a term borrowed from the animal kingdom. Among animals like chimpanzees and wolves, the alpha is the highest ranking member of the group. He eats first, he mates first, he gets what he wants. The other animals differ to him because he is stronger and he can dominate them all. This term has been applied to humans, and so we find alpha males in business, politics, and even in the church. These are strong leaders who insist on being in charge and can be very effective in a crisis. But they can also be ruthless, determined to be the boss at all cost, and intolerant of competition. In today's gospel, Jesus tells his disciples about the kind of leadership he desires in his church. Yet, the disciples seem deaf to his words. Jesus has already told them that his leadership will involve suffering and death. And he is telling them a third time as they journey to Jerusalem. But this crucial lesson continues to fall on deaf ears. In today's gospel, Jesus says, if anyone wishes to be first, he shall be the last of all and the servant of all. We live in a world that values status, power, and prestige. Society often teaches us that to be first means to be above others, to seek recognition, and to pursue personal gain. But Jesus, as always, challenges us to see things differently. He teaches that true greatness is not found in authority, wealth, or fame, but in humility and service to others. At the center of this teaching is a call to imitate Christ himself. His entire life was an act of service, washing his disciples' feet, healing the sick, feeding the poor, and ultimately offering his life on the cross for our salvation. He became last for us, humbling himself even to the point of death, so that we might have life. To be the servant of all means that we are called to put others before ourselves, to listen to the needs of those around us, and to act with compassion and generosity. It requires us to embrace humility, recognizing that our lives are not just about us, but how we contribute to the well-being of others. The image of a child is powerful in today's gospel passage. In the ancient world, children had no status or power. They are utterly dependent on others, vulnerable, and often overlooked. By placing a child at the center of the discussion, Jesus is showing that in welcoming the most vulnerable, the least in society, we welcome Jesus. Jesus identifies with those who are often forgotten or marginalized. This speaks to us as a community of faith. We are called not only to serve, but also to open our hearts and hands to those in need. At the same time, there is a deeper mystery at work in Jesus' teaching on humility. He does not ask us to become last as a form of punishment or poverty. Rather, he reveals that in becoming last, we find true fulfillment. In giving of ourselves, we discover the joy and peace that come from living in union with God's will. In serving others, we are drawn closer to the very heart of Christ, who is love incarnate. Mother Teresa and Saint Francis of Assisi are the best examples of it. You may have heard the story about a man who died and went to heaven. When he arrived, he was amazed to see people he never expected to find there. He commented to God, "I never expected to see some of these people here. And why is everyone so quiet?" God replied, "They didn't expect to see you here either." Dear friends, most of us will probably be greatly surprised when we get to heaven and see who is there and who holds a more exalted position. Let us reflect then on our own lives and ask, how can we live out this call to be the servant of all? What opportunities do we have each day to humble ourselves, to put others first, and to show the love of Christ to those around us? May we, like Jesus, embrace the path of service, trusting that in doing so, we are not losing anything, but gaining everything in Jesus. Amen. Trusting in the Lord. Please. I